Good evening, everyone. So today is the Buddha's, in Buddhism, it's full moon day. We call in Burmese, it's Wakong Labji, means Wakong, full moon day, Wakong Labji Ne. So here, in this day, Venerable Buddha instructed his 500 disciple monks about the practice of vipassana and instructed them to go to a forest to meditate, where they began to practice the vipassana meditation, but for some reason they couldn't practice it very well because of the disturbance of the invisible beings in the forest. So they began to come again to the Buddhas for advices. After that, Buddha have instructed them to send metta, or the compassion, towards the invisible beings, from that time the monks again went to the forest, and then before they sit for the vipassana meditation, they send compassion to the invisible beings. So later, the invisible beings began to change their mindset from the rough and tough mind towards the compassionate mind, by loving each other and sending compassion to each other, and being friendly towards the monk and towards each other too. So after that, they began not to disturb the monks again. Later, then monks began to sit properly for vipassana meditation and began to achieve the enlightenment. Means the 500 monks become arahant, or the enlightened persons. So from that day, Buddha have instructed this Metta Sutta, the sutras of metta, the sutras of compassionate, loving and kindness, where now we chant the Metta Sutta in everywhere. Regarding this Metta Day, okay, regarding these discourses, okay, I have my own experiences, because I was a very angry young guy, okay, who had his own grudge who had his ego, okay, and grudges towards the persons who hurt me mentally. So when they when I become a monk, I still had that grudges inside my mind, inside my heart, where different people behind me also began to judge or sometimes criticize me in different ways. So I began to find out the solution that how to deal with my rough attitude, okay, with my anger. Later, after a year, I began to found a book where there is written that the compassionate, the compassionate mind can win the angry mind. Okay, compassionate mind can overcome the angry mind, angry, rough attitude. So later, at first, I didn't agree with it because I didn't believe that it will work. It works because I had so many grudges, so many anger inside my heart that totally I began to blindly believe that this world is worst. Human beings are worst. They do not deserve compassion and kindness from me. Where, but I had a habit to test my mind, to test everything, to experiment everything. Where I began to read the book, okay, where there is a story, a short story about a monk. When he goes for alms begging, then when he stopped by a house, in front of a house, and people want to donate him or offer him some meal, at that right time, he began to enter the jhana, or a concentration level, through this metta kamatan. What we say in Burmese, in English it means the practice of compassion, practice of compassion. So when the people donate him foods or meal, then the donors gets double merits, okay, double good deeds. Okay, so because of the monk, because the monk's mind is pure at that moment, at the concentration level moment. So when he returned from the alms begging to the monastery, he also begins to sit for and practice compassion. So later, after I read the benefits of this method, And then I test myself to practice compassion, like an experiment. Okay, when I began to practice, I have a prayer bits which helps me to count the compassion to about the compassion. Okay, so I start with myself to have compassion on myself, to have kind on myself by chanting that may I be free from suffering, may my mind be calm and quiet, may my suffering be healed. Okay, may I be healthy, may I be wise. Okay, and may my heart begin to be in peace. This chanting I chant after I wake up in the morning. Okay, and then after during the alms begging I began to chant. Okay, coming from alms begging to the monastery I began to chant. So whenever I get chance I began to chant. Okay, so slowly my attitudes towards me, my rough attitudes towards me began to become soft. Okay, very soft and very light. I began to feel very light. Okay, so when I began to feel very light and strong, okay, like strong concentration was there about by this chanting towards myself, I began to change it towards my family. Okay, so I began to take my father as an object in my mind and contemplate compassion towards him, and my sister and my late mother also. So I began to send them metta or compassion. Let my father be free from suffering. Let my mother be free from suffering. Let my sister be free from suffering. Let my father be healthy, wealthy, and be in peace. Let my mother be healthy, wealthy, and be in peace. Let my sister be healthy, wealthy, and be in peace. So, contemplating on that, I began to feel more peace, more calm in my heart, more lightness in my heart. My heaviness of grudge in my heart began to reduce from time to time. It takes me whole month to practice, whole month. Okay, so it takes time, of course, and you need to send compassion from the bottom and deep of the heart, where I began to have more stability in my concentration, more pureness, more softness in my heart. I change the object, okay, towards my friend to contemplate and send compassion towards them, and my close persons. Okay. Later, after the hardest part was the enemy of my life. This is the hardest part. This was the hardest part to contemplate on, because for normal people, they can't have compassion towards their enemy. But with the practice of compassion and kindness, it is possible actually. So what I do is that my family members, There are relatives who hurt me very deeply, and I had a very huge trauma and grudge upon them. So I took one object in my mind, one person object in my mind, and I began to to have contemplate on compassion and kindness towards them. And I began in my mind, my view towards them begins to change slowly, step by step, began to change slowly. Okay. I can't get anger on them. Okay. Slowly it began to, my anger towards them began to reduce step by step. So after that person, another person I choose as an object and then contemplate on compassion towards them by saying, by chanting that let this person be in peace, let this person, okay, be happy, healthy, and wise. Let this person be successful in their life. Okay. So one by one, okay, even from relatives or from friends, I began to contemplate and send compassion towards them. Okay, slowly I began to realize that my views towards them began to change slowly, step by step. So later on, I heard a Dharma discourse from a Sayadaw whose name is Dr. Nanda Vimala Sayadaw, that sending metta is not like sending an email or a letter to a person. Sending metta or sending compassion means to change the view of yours towards the other person, which really I liked his words, which really impressed me. Okay, then I began to understand the main concept of sending the compassion. It's not for others, it's for yourself only, to change your view towards the person you like and dislike. So we need to understand it very well and deeply. Okay. So that's how I began to have the confidence to forgive all my enemies, all the persons who I had grudge inside myself. Okay. Because, and also I'm very thankful to them because for them, because they are the one who became an object, who I created an object, and who I choose as an object, and I began to reduce my anger, grudge, and dark or negative emotions towards them. So many people says to me, ask me that I sent them compassion, but I think they didn't receive it. So I told them that compassion is not sending a letter towards others. It means, okay, when you practice, it means that you are choosing them in your mind as an object and make your mind understand to change views towards them. That's the real concept of this contemplating on compassion, loving, and kindness towards others. So, no matter how other people hurt you, you must understand it to change your own perceptions and views towards them positively. You will begin to see that your mind begins to change and your attitude towards them began to change. No matter they are changed or not, it doesn't matter. But it it is important to change yourself, your attitude, and your mindset towards them. That's the trick. That's the mind trick. What we need to practice actually. We think that other people hurt us. That's wrong attitude. Other people doesn't hurt us actually in real. It's us who hurt us. It's we who are hurt us every time by not understanding our mind. That's why it is important to understand our mind and trick them to control them by changing our views towards other people who we dislikes or likes. So that's all for today. May you happy, may you be in happy, healthy and wise, and may you be peace with your own respective surroundings. Thank you very much.